The pilot episode. Here we go again with your three friends, Drew, Neil, and Perk. We got your favorite movies and shows. It's three guys nobody knows. The pilot episode.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the pilot episode. It's a beautiful Friday. Happy to be alive, and we are covering Memory of a Killer. I forget what episode this is because this show just runs
Episode
together.
5.
I'm
It's
still
funny to
loving it.
forget something about this show.
Exactly. That's why I said happy to be alive because, boy, somebody's dying in this son of a gun every time you turn on the TV, and it is fast paced. My only fear so far as we get into it is I just at the pace we're at, and we've talked about it a little bit, I don't see this series being a very long series.
Yeah. And last week I said I was going to keep up with the names of the episodes. This one was called Betrayal.
Yes, I did catch that just because you said it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But jumping into this one right off the bat, we have a flashback. We go back 5 years. So y'all jump into that and tell me about
almost the whole episode is a flashback. So we see the wife, up and active for the first time. We see Michael like halfway there. We see his decline as it starts happening and all that stuff, and how he has to save Michael from being killed because it's really his fault that all this money gets lost, and then ends up, even though he says he only kills bad guys, kills Dutch's brother so that his brother can survive.
Yeah, JB, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I kind of figured one of these type of episodes was coming. It makes a lot of sense for this show to actually get all the background like we've all been asking about. So that made a lot of sense. But full transparency, I watched this while I was watching my daughter playing with her on the floor, so it was a little spacey for me on some things. I actually thought for a moment, because I caught some part, didn't catch the second part, I thought Michael was not actually his brother, and he was introducing him to his wife as his brother.
Oh, yeah. It was the lies, the coworker.
Yes. But turns out, other way around, he had not told his family about his actual brother, which, I mean, fits the show, but that one I kind of expected them to, know about Michael,
Also, on the other foot, Michael didn't even know he had a wife and a daughter.
That too.
Which is just, I don't know how you could keep that covered up for so long. We also found out how Dutch was able to rope him back in. It was to keep Michael from dying, even after the original setup, and he got Michael out of it by killing JB. So, they brought it all together on everything with that situation, except we know his wife's dead. I still, did Dutch have his wife killed? Did he find out? I feel like there's a lot of ways they can spin off of this 5-year flashback. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We could throw theories around all day, but we know she's not there anymore.
That's what I thought was going to be how that played out.
This episode?
Ways, and his wife was going to die. That was, Dutch killing him. But to y'all's point earlier, you thinking this show does not have a chance to go on. We can live in a flashback world with this show forever.
Basically.
And I would say this too. I would love to see Michael's character in full prime. They said this dude ran the books for 30 years.
Yeah.
I would love to see that in full swing and him sharp and really running it. So, there could be a whole season of that, in my opinion. I'd be good with it.
Yeah, I definitely would be too. And so another thing, one of the big things that I want to talk about was the fact that Angelo has always protected Michael. Like we talk about it throughout the episode that, Michael at one point's like, your job has never been to protect me. Why do you feel like you have to protect me so much? Because he was like, I know you killed Dad. And then he goes on to confess that to Joe knowingly, because he thinks he's talking to Michael and confessing it to Michael. And then we end the episode with Joe being like, what are you talking about? So that is the biggest slip up that he has had yet. And, we talk about how he has one every episode, but that is the biggest one yet. So they're just snowballing and building and getting bigger every episode.
Yeah. And it kind of brought in a lot of the stuff that weighs on him and as we see him slip, I think the JB, whichever one of y'all said earlier, he's only supposed to kill bad guys.
Yeah.
I think killing JB really changed something in him, during that time frame and moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, with the whole Joe and the real big slip up, you can see that he's breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing about this episode that was so crucial to me, well, and it wasn't really crucial, I guess, but I did like seeing it. It gave some little bit of a backstory. Watching Joe when he first comes in, and Dutch has got him doing the dishes and stuff like that, and he kind of tries to outsmart the system and pay someone else to do the work for him, or talks him into it. I thought that was neat, like just seeing Joe being like somewhat initiated and what he kind of was going through in order to actually gain his rank that he's at today.
Mm-hmm. And we see Angelo use Joe too in that early stage to help set up JB, unbeknownst to him that he's setting up JB. But
He's
he
just a
thinks
puppet.
he thinks he got actual intel, and he thinks he did so good, and Dutch is going to be so proud of him, and he is, because Dutch thinks that that's for real. But Angelo just set JB up the whole time.
Yeah, and there's so many twists and turns, and there's so many people calling shots behind each other's back. Everything Angelo does, Dutch doesn't know about. Everything Dutch is trying to do. We also hear Michael and Angelo when Angelo tells him he's getting out. I forget the guy's name he says, but he's like, what happened to him when he thought he was going to move.
Yeah.
So we know how Dutch handles these situations anyways.
And that's what makes me think that that's why his wife died.
Yes, I agree 1,000%. I really thought that's what this episode was going to be.
But on the other hand, would Angelo not know that? That's why his wife died, even though instead of
right,
Well, there's already been one thing, and it's slipping my mind, that Dutch didn't bring Angelo in on the loop. That's already happened, because you remember he brought it up to him. It was like,
when the cops were tailing him, because he didn't let him know that the cops were tailing him apparently 5 years ago or whatever, and which I don't know if that lines up with around the same time period that
that's
we're
what I'm
in
saying,
right
because
now.
that was 5 years ago. Now this, so, and that pissed him off, and he said, I'm pretty sure the way Dutch described it was, if you would have needed to know, I would have told you. It was handled. You didn't need to know. But I don't think Dutch really has a true friend. I think he has employees and guys that get shit done for him, and anybody is replaceable. And I'll tell you how I know that to be certain. He had his brother shot on a sofa in the living room.
Yeah. I do think he does have a connection with Angelo, though. Like, you see what at least at one point was a friendship, either growing up or something. Like, you see that.
He definitely favors him, and he does talk to him differently than everybody else.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I don't think he would kill his wife.
Oh, no, I don't. He definitely would do that.
If Michael had been the brother of anybody other than Angelo, he would have been dead.
Yes,
I agree. He would have never went with the letting him stay alive as long as Angelo stayed.
Which leads me to think that Dutch would have killed JB instead of killing, or not JB, Michael, not Michael. Yeah. Right. Angelo's brother's name's Michael, right?
Yes.
It leads me to believe that Dutch would have killed Michael instead of his wife, though.
Right.
Not really.
He knows. He actually
Yeah.
knows of the brother and all that. But
yeah, the brother wasn't a secret, and he's worked for him for 30 years keeping his book. And it was also the way it was presented. Angelo pulled the strings on this whole setup, and he had the rook card to play because he had already told him he was leaving. So once he was able to say, you get to keep me here as long as he's alive, he kind of had the upper hand in the negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then if he kills him, then he knows Angelo can go. Yeah.
And Angelo's probably going to try to kill him before he's gone.
Well, I would think Angelo would try to kill him if he killed his wife.
Yeah, you'd think that.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, it could end up being a thing that it was Dutch and Angelo doesn't know.
Hired it out type deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if he got Joe to do it?
Very possible.
Look, Joe is an interesting character. Obviously Angelo, he is. He's a very much a wild card. Like he is slowly becoming probably my second favorite character behind Angelo. I don't know why. I think it
Mhm.
may be just because of I like him as an actor so much.
And the
Yeah, that's
curiosity of
what
his character.
Yes, they are
that's what
leaving
I
him
was gonna
so
say.
open. Yes.
Yeah,
He could be the
and
villain, or he could be the best guy in this show. He could
Mhm.
end up being the new Angelo. Like it could go any direction, and
right.
nobody could really know.
I've been saying it since the beginning of the show that the guy that plays Joe is I'm a really big fan of him ever since I saw him in the 100 and in Final Destination, the most recent Final Destination movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else? Y'all got anything else on the episode? I'm like
I mean, that's
not.
pretty much. We've hit the high points. I mean, y'all can go on whatever. It was a flashback episode. It could go a ton of
Mhm.
ways. I'd like to see us pick back up in the present next week because
Mhm.
we still have so many loose ends and so many
Right.
questions, and we have Angelo fading. Seems to be pretty quickly.
Mhm.
Does he get to the sticky note stage like Michael did?
Yeah.
Or do we flash back again and carry that out and find out how his wife died?
To me, one of the big things about this episode, one of my big notes, is this episode changed the way I felt about Dutch a lot. Like you talked about how he doesn't have friendships, he doesn't have relationships, he has employees. Like even down to the point to where he just offed his own little brother. Like
Yeah.
that is
Who was innocent?
psychotic.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is psychotic.
Yeah, he took it to a whole new level, like full blown mobster.
Mhm.
I don't care.
That's what I was gonna say. Like he took it to like a mafia-esque level. Like that this is common for that line of work. Like keep in mind, like brothers were killed all the time in this
This
line
was
of
Oh,
a
work.
Tony
absolutely.
this was a Tony Soprano hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like I said, it's the way he did it too. Broad daylight, sitting in the living room, walked in there. I mean, I really didn't think he was going to have him killed. I thought they were going to try to get some bullshit story out of him, tell him it can't ever happen again, go on.
So and I could be just missing this completely.
Mhm.
Joe is Dutch's nephew, correct?
Correct. So
Who's
there's
his
a
father?
brother or a sister that we don't know
That's what I was
at
about to
this
say. I didn't
point.
know. Yeah.
So I had that same thought because I was like, wait, is this Joe's
Yeah.
dad? And then when the way that those two interacted
And Joe
in
went and
the
dumped the money
restaurant,
out.
yeah, the way they interacted in the restaurant, I was like, okay, that's not his dad,
No.
but it is his uncle from what I understand. So there's a mom or a dad that's related to those two that we don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Which we didn't even know JB existed until this episode, to my
Yeah,
knowledge. I
that's
don't
what I was about to
remember
say.
him.
If
Yeah,
if
I
he's
don't.
been in it, it was very briefly, and he didn't matter at the time.
Yeah, I don't remember him ever being mentioned, even like as a just like a thrown out name. So, which I mean, I guess if you killed your brother, you wouldn't want to talk about him all that often.
Yeah.
But
You remember that time we blew my brother?
Yeah, probably don't bring that up at the barbecue. The other thing I'll say I picked up on in this episode that I mean it may have been brought up before, and I just kind of sped past it. I didn't realize Michael was that high up operating with them for that long, for 30 years
Yeah.
running the books.
yeah,
It's just hard to envision that with how they've portrayed his character
hmm
until the flashback. And
right,
I mean, he wasn't sharp then, but you could see he was frustrated and he wasn't
yeah,
capable.
and he was still able to play the piano and like all that stuff. And he talked about how playing the piano helped him to think, which makes me think that this music class that he's going to do is going to end up giving him a breakthrough. And he's not going to necessarily get all the way back to where he was, but he's going to be good enough to give Angelo some advice.
That's a good thought. Because
I
right
kinda-
now, buddy, he can't help him with nothing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I hope you're right because I like his character a lot. Like if
Mhm.
he could really go. And we know he was sharp because even Dutch talks about like you could do those numbers in your head like you never missed anything for all those years. How the fuck does this happen?
Well, you notice on when they're doing the Alzheimer's test on the memory of like the grocery store and all that stuff, he doesn't remember that, but the math problems he immediately was
Still
just,
firing.
so I guess the way Alzheimer's works is it takes certain parts of your brain. It
I was going to
doesn't
say it's a different
necessarily
part of your brain, probably.
Well,
right.
that was just
So,
such a strength of his, so it's going
mhm.
it's not going as fast.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was sitting there on the couch. Well, I wasn't on the couch. I was watching it in here. So I was sitting here in my chair, and she was saying the numbers. I was like, "Man, an Alzheimer's patient is faster than me at simple math. That is sad."
Yeah. Well, it's acting. He may not can count in real life. You never know.
They told him the numbers that they cheated.
Let's see here. Is that it on Memory of a Killer?
I'm good whenever y'all are, man. Like I said, this is a flashback episode. You need to be watching this series if you're not, because if you're not watching this series from beginning to end and just try to pick up on this one and listen to us, you're going to be very confused because we're talking about shit from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it. Sorry for the short episode, but I mean, there just wasn't that much to talk about on this one.
Yeah, the entirety of the episode was a flashback. So
yeah,
we got to get back to finding out who the ferryman is.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the big deal for me.
Little news, however, we will be doing Small Soldiers next week. For those of you who did not watch our movie review of Iron Claw, that is the movie that was chosen for next week. So be looking forward to that early in the week next week. We'll be back then, and then we'll be back at the end of the week next week for Memory of a Killer. Y'all got anything else?
I'm good.
All right. We will see y'all then. Make sure you let Aunt Deborah know that the pilot episode put out a new podcast. And do what?
Aunt. We went aunt this time. No grandmother. We went aunt.
Yeah, Aunt Deborah. It sounds better.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm still tweaking it. I really don't know where I'm going with it. But anyways, y'all make sure you like, share, subscribe. And also, if you want to submit your movie to our random wheel spin every week, make sure you leave the comment down below. We'll add it to the list, and maybe your movie will be chosen for the following week. But that's going to be it. Neil, what do you got for the people?
We'll see you.
The pilot episode.